Hello, Hellbound friends. It is I, the Godless Iowan, and I am, of course, here with Mrs. Snarky. We also have a very special guest tonight. Well, I say special. We won't say which type, but would you like to introduce yourself?
Fuck off, Iowan. Hi, guys. My name is Suris, and I have a channel myself as well. Me and Iowan are tentative rivals, sometimes friends.
Yeah. Rivals was the case until about 2 weeks ago, and you've kind of taken off, which is really cool to see. So I congratulate you.
I'm fairly certain that with a little more exposure, with the amount you're able to upload, you will probably shoot past me again. Just because I can get 2 videos out a week and you can get around 4.
I'm shooting for 6 a week, but okay.
Well, you know, if this is a penis measuring contest, then you did win. The preacher man who's going to indoctrinate me into the faith, apparently. I don't want to straw man you, but the preacher man who's going to indoctrinate me into the faith does in fact have a massive e-penis.
Okay, well, we are in Genesis chapter 15, the Abrahamic covenant. Are we excited?
Very excited.
I'm so excited to hear about filicide. Oh wait, that is this one, isn't it?
You know what? I don't think we're going to get to that yet. No, we're not getting to that part in this chapter.
Man, killing babies is the fun part of the Bible, though. Damn it.
It is the fun part. I mean, who doesn't like a good baby killing?
I don't know what you're talking about. I currently have a bowl of dead babies here right now that I'm snacking on. It's great.
They sound kind of crunchy.
The bones are, but they're not developed enough to be a problem.
Oh, that's good. Mrs. Snarky's over there. I don't know what to say.
I don't. I have nothing. I got nothing.
She burned our baby today.
Well, what I've got is a bowl of babies.
We had a nice baby loaf.
Did it taste
good.
like veal?
Not really. It tasted more like, undercooked baby.
Then you should have kept it in for another 10 minutes. You needed to keep that bun in the oven.
Well, as I said, we are in Genesis chapter 15, and the first verse is, after these things in the word of the Lord. Oh, God damn it.
Hey, you can't say that, preacher man.
Blasphemer.
After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward.
Great.
The great reward that Abram never actually received?
Well, he did came into. God came into him.
I mean, see, we started this out talking about penises, and now that we're talking about God, we're talking about what he came into. I thought you were a Pentecostal preacher, not a Catholic preacher.
Hey, Pentecostals come into stuff too. We just try to keep it quiet until, people find out.
True. You guys do enjoy holding snakes.
Holding snakes. I was referring more so to Ted Haggard.
Ah.
Yeah.
See, I have no idea who that is, and I feel like that's probably a point in my favor.
Do you know Jesus Camp, the movie?
No, I don't.
Oh, you have to watch Jesus Camp. Jesus Camp is about a Pentecostal church camp for children that is run by, it's not really run by Ted Haggard, but it has him in the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's probably the scariest thing you'll ever see on Pentecostalism.
And
all sorts of kids.
Propaganda for or propaganda against?
They thought it was propaganda for, but in the end, it was released as a movie that was against the religion.
You know, that reminds me a lot of Reefer Madness.
Yeah.
I think that movie works far more in favor of pot smokers than it does against weed.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, so are you saying that if I smoke weed, I'm not going to have murderous thoughts? Because I'm pretty sure
Have you seen Reefer Madness?
I have seen Reefer Madness, and doesn't she shoot
musical?
someone?
Did you see the original or the musical?
The original.
Okay. You need to see the musical very, very badly.
Okay.
There is a not on Broadway. I say Broadway just because musical. There's a musical version of Reefer Madness that is it's all the points of the movie, but put to music. But literally, like all the points in the movie are hit beat for beat. It even starts out in black and white, but it was made like 15 years ago. It tries its best, and it's a wonderful experience.
I will definitely have to check that out. I watched Reefer Madness a few years back for the first time. They actually had it on Netflix for a short period of time, and I watched it when it was on there, and it was one of the funniest movies ever made in my mind.
And it was supposed to be anti-pot propaganda.
Well, yeah, and I assume that it probably worked for some kooky people out there. People
faster.
Well, so Abram gets God coming into him, and God says, "Here's your I am your shield and your exceeding great reward." And Abram said, "Lord God, it's so big. It's really, really big." No, he didn't.
So wait, let me get this straight. He already came into him, and then he said, "I'm your reward." Didn't he already give him the reward when he came into him?
Well, you'd think so, but God just keeps on giving and giving.
I hear that his libido is amazing.
Especially if you're a 12 to 14-year-old girl, I hear.
I would say that's too low, but the Muslims have a 6-year-old one, so you know what? Never mind.
Oh, good point.
Oh, so Abram said, "Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus?"
Then God said, "I'll give you a kid."
Yeah. My cum is going to make you be able to come. I'm going to fix that prostate up right now.
Lord have mercy. If we weren't going to hell before, we are now.
And Abram said,
"To be fair, which would you rather have? You can choose one. Either your free will is revoked until the end of time, heaven, or you have your free will and you burn until the end of time, hell. Take your pick. They're both fucking awful."
Yeah.
They are. I mean, you have to, like, I know it's supposed to be eternal punishment, but there has to be like 2,000 to 3,000 years in where you're like, this is just same old, same old. I'm just going to go and make a meat sandwich and try to make the best of this.
A meat sandwich of Abram's butthole?
Yes.
Okay.
And Abram said, "Behold, to me you have given no seed, and lo,"
but he just did.
and lo, one born in my house is my heir. So Abram says, I can't come, God. The tackle doesn't work.
God, just so you know, your penis might be almighty, but mine is not functioning properly. It's not my prostate you need to fix. Oh, God, Lord, stop fixing my prostate!
It's
What kind of perfect design is this?
I don't know. Abram's shriveled up old man dick can't move anymore. And he says, "One born in my house is my heir." So it's a servant's son that he has picked as his heir, or a nephew or something along those lines.
Wasn't it that he couldn't get his wife pregnant, so then he just fucked her slave?
Yeah, they didn't understand this shit back then. He does go unto Hagar kicking and screaming, saying, "No, I don't want to have sex with this other woman."
Yeah. Kicking and screaming.
Exactly.
I'm sure there was some of that, but probably not on Abram's part.
Well, especially since Hagar had no choice in the matter. Never mind.
The whole slave thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Snarky, are you still with us?
Yes.
You just
And then Hagar was forced to give Abram a pee-pee kiss.
Blow job.
God
You're
damn
not
it.
allowed to say that. That automatically makes you a misogynist, Miss Snarky.
Yes, I hate myself so much.
I have found that no matter what, I'm going to be the worst of the worst from whatever camp is coming at me.
I've been told that I called all Christians idiots, and I don't think I've ever uttered those words in any of my videos.
Just in case you wonder, Suris thinks all Christians are idiots.
Bud Munch.
Why do you think all Christians are idiots, Suris?
I'm getting a real Jordan Peterson vibe right now. Do I need to call the lobsters?
We're good without any lobsters.
I think if society just operated like lobsters, the world would be a better place, though. Then God gave unto Abram a lobster. He said the children of Israel will operate like these.
Well, God's going to give Abram something. It says, "And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir. Fuck your nephew. But he who shall come..."
Don't let him fuck his nephew. There was enough of that with Noah.
How's he going to get an heir if he doesn't fuck his nephew?
He's got the wrong anatomy, so.
Yeah, I was about to say, so let's go ahead and put this out here. I want you to do a thing for me, Iowan, a little bit of a experiment. I want you to go find a guy, find another guy, and tell those two to make a baby. They can fuck all they want for years and years and years and years. And if a baby comes out of there, congratulations. We now have our Lord and Savior, because that's a fucking miracle.
Wouldn't that fuck with the religious right?
Yeah.
Just be like, we have a miraculous birth. Yeah, so do we. A baby popped out of his dick.
His dick is completely shredded now, but it's a baby.
Hmm.
It's like, how did it happen? And the guy just like pulls his pants down. Oh.
It looks like the insides of a pumpkin.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie, my thighs clenched a little bit at that thought. I didn't have a proper image in my head until you pointed that out.
Well, I'm glad I was able to give you that.
I don't think I want you giving me anything, sir, especially not when we're talking about God comething in Abram.
Oh, so Suris, I got a joke for you.
Is it? I'm not even going to go there. That would be too low. Continue.
All right. A doe walks out of the woods staggering and says, "That's the last time I do that for $2." Oh, yes. Okay,
so a well-trained doe.
Yes. So God says, that guy that you say is your heir, he's not going to be your heir, but he who shall come forth out of your own bowels,
he's going to shit his hair.
It's going to be a butt baby. You were right, Suris. It's coming out of his bowels.
No, the baby that I was suggesting didn't come out of the butt. It came out of a terrible graphic image you gave me.
Well, God's working in a more natural way. It's going to come out of Abram's butt.
Like a chicken.
Yes, natural. Well, now that we have it established that Abram's going to have a poop baby, let's continue.
Well, all we have learned is that Abram was born with a cloaca.
And that's a lot of information to take in.
Yeah. All right. And he, the Lord, brought him forth abroad and said, look now towards heaven and tell the stars, if you be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall your seed be.
This sounds a whole lot like God told him to turn his head and cough.
Look this other direction. You're going to see stars soon.
Exactly.
Just breathe deeply. Let the stars take over, and you'll have a baby in no time.
Is God Bill Cosby?
Just shush, Abram. Let it happen.
And God said, here's a little pudding pop. Oh, you pudding pop with your butt.
Pudding pop baby.
Hey, Abram.
Yes.
I got the truth in my pocket. It's gonna melt if you don't put your mouth around it.
Oh.
Oh no.
But he says, look at the stars, and those are going to be the number of your seed, which if you look up at the stars at night, it sure does seem like there's an awful lot of them. But in reality, visible stars, there's not as many as you would think from the naked eye.
From the naked eye, no, but you have to remember, back then, and I'm going to have to give this point to the Bible, actually. There was a lot less light pollution.
Mm-hmm.
You probably would have been able to see a lot more. Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, Abram lived pretty close to Sodom and Gomorrah. There was probably a lot of neon lights.
They weren't on fire yet.
Well, but there was probably neon, and it was fabulous, and
just the rainbow lights coming over there. We fuck angels.
Exactly. And he, Abraham, Abram believed in the Lord, and he counted it unto him for righteousness. So God told him, look at all those stars. That's what your seed's going to be like. Abraham was like, sure, God. And God was like, hey, you're a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Believe what I want you to believe. Take it up the ass when I want you to take it up the ass. It'll be the basis of Catholicism.
Oh.
Then the Catholics will have many seeds. We'll call them Protestants.
Oh, this has been a very filthy episode so far.
It really has, but we started off talking about your giant erect e-penis, and here we are.
When Suris is on with me, we generally talk about butt stuff and why he hates and thinks all Christians are stupid.
Yes, those are in fact the topics of which we typically cover. Those things.
And sometimes he becomes a woman.
I wasn't aware of that. That's news to me.
That's news to you that sometimes you come across as a woman?
Well, when Pam talks through the microphone and there's no context, sure, I can believe that.
Okay.
In any other situation, I don't want you thinking of me as a woman. That's just getting really weird.
The nice pink dress, some pumps. Oh, yeah.
My roommate just pointed out that I always have to be right, apparently, and therefore I must be a woman.
Suris is also sexist.
Apparently so. I think everyone should be treated equally, therefore sexism.
Exactly. Well, it says in verse 7, and he said unto him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it?
I fucking told you, dumbass. What kind of a stupid-ass question is that, Abram?
Look, Abram, I'm fucking God. I'm standing right in front of you. This is yours. How do I know it's mine, God? I'm fucking God.
No, God's fucking him. The correct answer is hold on, let me get my dark matter through my throat. Hold on. God.
Abram, your large gaping anus will be a sign unto them that you shall inherit this land.
Or they'll stone you to death unless you walk into Sodom.
Pretty much.
Oh, and he said unto verse 9, and he said unto him, take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. I don't give a fuck how old the birds are. They're just for garnish.
My name is God. I just came unto you. I'm talking to you right now. So let me give you instructions on how to talk to me. But God, aren't we talking right now? Shut the fuck, Abram. You've already proved you ask stupid questions. Don't keep this shit up.
Indeed.
All you had to do, Abram, was say, yeah, sure, God, I got that. And what you wouldn't have to get your hands bloody, but because you're dumb, we're going to do this shit.
You already had a bloody anus. Now you got to have bloody hams. Congratulations.
And he took unto him all these and divided them in the midst and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not.
Divided.
Because God really cares about how you make his barbecue.
Yeah. Jimmy Swaggart in the commentary says, the dividing of the 3 larger animals in sacrifice, which means their bodies were literally cut into 2 pieces, with one piece on one side and the other piece on the other, signified the terrible depth of sin which the cross alone could answer.
Oh, come on.
What?
The cross wasn't even a thing.
It wasn't a thing yet. The Romans weren't around yet.
Jimmy Swaggart has spoken.
Post
Jimmy
talk,
Swaggart
motherfucker.
has no swagger. He is not as fabulous as the men from Sodom.
He has spoken.
So let me get this straight. I need to cut a bunch of animals up, split them in half, put them at random places on a hill, and somehow this reminds you of 2 hunks of wood nailed together with which you're going to nail your son. Oh God, that sounded a lot worse than it actually meant to be coming out. Not nailing in the same sense that God just nailed Abram, just so we're clear. Somehow these things correlate. You know? I'm starting to understand where the logic for young Earth creationism comes from.
Exactly. Abram's just sitting there like, so what, who are you going to kill in like 1,000 years?
Mhm.
What's
I'm
going
kill
on?
my son. Oh, okay. And you're doing this so I mimic that? Yes.
Well,
So what's gonna...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, if he's divining these things, maybe he saw
He's intelligently
in the intestines, because they do sheep intestines for divination. Maybe he saw the cross.
They also used sheep intestines and pork intestines for fucking condoms. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Not to mention, it says that he cut them, like Jimmy Swaggart says, he cut them literally in 2 pieces down the center of their bodies.
Oh
That's
God,
like
they got stomach acid on my sandals.
That would be the hardest way to cut through an animal.
You have to go through every single major bone in the body.
Exactly. Couldn't I just cut off a leg and then another leg and then we'll split open the middle?
You don't get to do that. You need to cut down every individual vertebrae in the spinal column. What do you mean, what the fuck's a vertebrae? We have animals. What do you mean they're called kinds? Shut the fuck up, Abram.
But he leaves the birds alone. It says, and when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away.
Shut the fuck up, birds. This is my blood sacrifice.
And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And
wait a minute. Hold on. I'd like to interject something here. So, okay, God is omnipotent, right?
Yes, supposedly.
He's omniscient too, correct?
Supposedly.
So the all-knowing, all-powerful God told Abram, do a blood sacrifice, and then purposefully sent birds there to make it more difficult.
Well, you can't just have the blood sacrifice. I mean, it's a whole game for God. Okay, just think about this. You're an omnipotent, omniscient, and ever-present being. You've existed for all of eternity before even time existed.
Illogical.
You're probably really fucking bored.
Probably. That's why he made a whole bunch of idiotic people.
Exactly. So he comes up with this whole game, and sure, the programming shit because he has no one else to test it, but he enjoys it for a few thousand years, and then he's going to destroy it.
Like a kid with his Legos.
Exactly. Actually, I was thinking it's kind of like anytime I ever played The Sims, I would really try to play for about 2 or 3 days. I'd be playing the same game, and then in the end I would just start murdering all my Sims.
You know, that's a lot like what happens with me in League of Legends. I start out the first 10, 20 minutes in a game with the 4 other people on my team who I will learn to hate very quickly, and I'm just like, I'm gonna make everything perfect, this game's gonna go well, and I'm gonna do my damnedest. After that 20-minute mark in, I spent way too much time with these people, and they all have to fucking suffer now.
Exactly, and that's just like God. I mean, he's an okay guy, but he only has so much patience.
Yes, the guy who's existed forever has limited patience.
Exactly.
That's why he literally went, you know what? We're going to make the world. The world's going to be around for couple billion years, then cells are going to become cells are going to clump together. They're going to become multicellular, and I'm going to start doing all this stuff so slowly. It's going to be so perfect. Halfway through, he's like, "Fuck it, I hate these chimps. Turn them into people." But God, don't we need to have do you really want us to fuse chromosome 2 right now? Yes. Fuck it. It's been way too long.
But won't people get really confused and say, if we came from chimps, why are there still chimps?
No, that is not going to happen, and I'm all-knowing. Shut up, Abram. These are dumb questions.
So the sun's going down, and a deep sleep falls on Abram, and lo, and horror, and it actually says, "and horror of great darkness fell upon him."
I think "and horror of great darkness" is just it's an adjective descriptory term, like just to say a lot of darkness, a lot of bad darkness.
They could have just said that.
They could have said that, but he's God.
And I like how we talked about God plowing Abram's butthole, and now Abram is thrown into a great darkness in sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to happen again, Abram. I'm sorry.
With
You've
the
still got
pudding and the humping and the...
Whoa!
Abram, you've still got some tread on that tire.
Then you plow with the pudding.
And verse 13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years.
And there will be no historical evidence of this.
No, none, because he's God and he cleans his shit up.
We got to admire the foreshadowing, though. At least we're getting some it's getting better in literary terms.
Oh, definitely.
In literary terms, it is better. Though I will say I do like the image I just got of God cleaning his shit up, because I'm sure it was meant to be that God cleaned everything up that he fucked up. But what I'm getting is this really weird image of God just inserting his thumb into Abram's rectum and cleaning his shit up.
Oh.
Gross.
It's not gross. He's God.
I swear, people, some of my videos are going to be able to be monetized.
Not a single one.
Probably
Not a
not.
single live thing. I have been told by Prophet of Zod that for some reason in my recorded videos I come across as very cordial and very nice, but whenever I'm in live hangouts, it seems like I go unhinged randomly.
And that's why I love the hangouts, because we actually get to be who we are.
Yep.
When I'm reading a script, I have such a hard time conveying the energy or what I want from it. In a live hangout, I'm just like, let it all hang out and talk about thumbs up and ass.
As long as it's hanging slightly to the right, right?
That's right. Slightly to the right. Oh yeah.
That's how you know you're a son of Abraham. You hang slightly to the right, much as he does.
And
This is
if you're circumcised, that's another indication.
You need to make sure that your circumcision happens the way that God intended, including the rabbi sucking the foreskin off the tip of your penis.
which is really strange that sodomy's against the rules, but sucking a baby dick isn't.
Yeah, it really is. I was
And
actually requested by one of my friends to do a video on circumcision, and I really don't know if I should.
oh, you should.
Oh yeah.
Just no real visual representations.
Though there's going to be visual representations.
Oh,
They're just all going to be very tongue-in-cheek and not penises.
okay. I can do that. Like if you had any kind of real circumcision, that would be the
No.
cringiest of the cringe.
No, I had a video where I was talking about a I don't know if you saw the one where I responded to Inspired Walk. I think it was that one.
Yeah, I think so.
There was one video at some point where like I made up a hypothetical person called Evil Philip,
Okay.
and I had to imagine them doing all of the worst possible things, including child rape. And I was like, holy crap, how am I actually going to do a visual representation of this? Because I had Evil Philip as a stick figure, which pretty much guaranteed that he needed to do things.
Oh,
So
God.
I just ended up having like Evil Philip's head and then a giant censored bar and nothing else. It's like, nope, that's as far as I'm going with the visual representation.
That's probably a wise choice on your part.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, Abram here is in a deep sleep. God's like, I'm gonna give you a lot of kids, but they're gonna be slaves for 400 years.
And then Abram was like, well, I'm going to live for 900 years, so they only have to be slaves for half their lives. They can do it. That's totally how it's going to stay, God, right? Right? Humans are going to live to be 900 for until the end of time, right?
And God's like, no. I've already kind of made this rule where you're supposed to live to 120, but then I had some people live a lot longer still.
Yeah, and then God realized that intelligent design was being done when he was drunk. Look, Jeffrey, the fucking platypus.
God is really like someone who is writing a superhero book and like halfway just gives the superhero some kind of power that he didn't have before. And he's like, oh yeah, he totally has ice vision.
So what you're saying is he works for early DC Comics.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
So he says, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. And Abram did break the rule because it says here that Abram was 175 years old when he died.
Abram went, fuck you, God!
But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full, And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. We have no idea at this point who the Amorites are. They just throw it in there.
I mean, that's a lot like how later on when they're talking about Jesus, they're just like, and Pontius Pilate. He was there. Trespass.
This is the iniquity of the Amorites, and it's just, who the hell are the Amorites? But Jimmy Swaggart is there to help us.
Jimmy, tell us, what does this mean?
It says, as the book of Job teaches, Job's friends were wrong, and they thought that God immediately brings judgment on sinners. In fact, he is patient and long-suffering. However, he is also just, and the judgment will eventually come if there is no repentance, even as it did on the Amorites. It still doesn't really explain who they are.
It doesn't explain who they are at all. It just said Amorites bad, God good, God patient, Amorites bad. God judge Amorites like he judged Job. Job suffered, be like Job.
But Job wasn't even bad.
But he did have to make God win a bet.
That is such a brutal fucking book. Because no matter what, okay, if you have kids, let's say you have 5 kids, and those kids are brutally killed in an accident, and then you have 5 more kids, it's not like the 5 more replace the first 5.
Well, it just shows how intelligent God's design is. He doesn't understand how the human brain functions.
Exactly.
It's a lot like making a fucking tree in the middle of a forest and saying, don't eat that tree, not even realizing that reverse psychology is a thing.
And well, also not even realizing that he hadn't told them what death actually was or what sin was. It was just, don't eat this tree. What does don't mean? We've never been told don't before.
You've never been told death. You've never been told anything.
Exactly. That's God's logic in the Bible.
Well, remember.
But yeah, so... okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, remember, this is the same God who, according to... who is he again who's coming to our rescue? Jimmy
Swaggart?
Jimmy Swagger. Remember, this is a God who makes things so plain that somebody as profound as Jimmy Swaggart can still have to misconstrue it to mean cross when it's just cutting up animals.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to read you one more section here.
Oh, God. Because
you heard about the burning lamp that passed between the pieces of meat, right? The cut up animals.
Yeah, yeah.
It says here, the burning lamp passed between the piece of the sacrifice and proclaims the word of God. This presents the biblical authority of the cross, which the sacrifices represent.
What?
Oh my God.
What?
That is such bullshit.
How? How?
Because he says so. It's all about the cross.
It confirms his bias.
I want Jimmy Swagger and a rabbi to sit down and talk for 5 minutes, and I want to be present.
I don't think you could find a rabbi that would be willing to do that.
The rabbi would just sit there and go, you know, we may suck off baby penises, but you're crazy as fuck.
Is he even still alive?
Jimmy Swaggart, yeah, he's still alive.
Oh, wow. Damn.
He's actually coming back. Like, a lot of people I've noticed don't know who Jimmy Swaggart is. But he was the Pentecostal televangelist of the 1980s. He was bigger than Robert Tilton, bigger than any of the people out there today, really, because it was still when there was network TV, and he was on every single Sunday. And so everybody knew who he was. Then he got caught in a prostitute scandal and went away for a while. And now he's back, and he's getting bigger and bigger. He's got his own TV channel,
Is he getting
and
bigger and bigger because of the prostitutes?
well, maybe.
I mean, I figured this started with penis jokes.
Well, the surprising thing is he has some really backwards ideas on lust written throughout this Bible, and yet he was caught with prostitutes, which is pretty funny.
I mean, isn't that typically how it is? Like, the most homophobic person probably is a closeted homosexual. The person who protests things like incest probably had a thing with their cousin. Like, the person who says, no, you need to honor your wife and respect her and ignore the fact that I beat her when I go home. Like, isn't that always the case when it comes with a lot of really religious people? The things that they speak most profoundly against are the things that they just do.
Forbidden fruit.
Which I'm just going to go out on a limb means that Greg Locke is into some freaky shit.
I'm sure his secretary could tell us all about it.
Yes. So it then says, in the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto your seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Canaanites, the Kezites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaims, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Gishites, and the Jebusites. And it just ends there. That's the end of that story.
Because if you didn't have enough random tribes of people being thrown in without context, here's about 15 more.
And to finish out, Mr. Swaggart says 10 nations are listed here, nations which occupied the land of Canaan. 10 is the number of completeness in the Bible and indicates that the entirety of this land, which would also include other tribes, would be given to Abram's descendants. So if there were other tribes, then it wasn't 10.
10.
Exactly.
No longer 10 at that point, though.
That's like trying to make this number fit and being like, yeah, but there was really 14. Nope, 10. There was only 10. Only 10 mattered.
It's like pausing the video halfway through and saying, this is my relevant point. And they're just like, but what about the context on 5 seconds after that point and 5 seconds before? Nope. This is my red herring. One of my hands is quivering right now in just not exactly rage. I'm not sure. I think I might need to get that checked out. I don't know how to feel about that.
Going back to what we've talked about earlier, this is probably whoever watched one of your videos and you maybe said something along the lines of, now, would I say that all Christians are stupid? And they just paused it right there.
Actually, that's not unlike one thing that I've heard. There was one person who commented on my videos and said that the comment I made about homosexuality, I think it was 13 or 14 years ago, some very long amount of time when one of my friends confronted me for being a homophobe back when I used to be a Christian. And I gave the stock response at that time of, oh, well, I don't have a problem with homo people. I just don't want them to fuck me. And I said it in the context of, this is the person I used to be. I now realize I was really stupid when I gave that response when I was a kid, because as a kid who was also really indoctrinated, that made sense to me. As an adult who is no longer highly indoctrinated, looking back at something like that, I can realize that I was stupid. I'm still stupid, just not in that regard. And there was a comment on my video that said that I was inciting violence for that. And I'm like, how?
There are so many people out there that just look for things to be enraged by.
Yep, they do. Outrage.
It confuses me. It's a lot like you with the whole pee-pee kiss thing, which, granted, I'm glad that happened because that's a wonderful story.
Yes.
But still,
of all the things that I ever expected someone to call me, it would not be a misogynist for joking about blowjobs with my soon-to-be wife.
Yeah.
Don't you know? This is snarky. No, turn back. Don't you understand? The minute you become a wife, you can no longer not consent to sex because apparently wives can't be raped.
God damn it, Suris. Why are you giving away my fucking plan?
That is a legitimate conversation I've had with somebody though, where like they've tried to convince me that if you are married, then there's no such thing as consent. It's all just blanket consent once you're married. And like that's not how that works.
Not according to the eyes of the law.
No,
it really depends on your state though. There are some states that will still get you for rape, even if it's to your wife or husband.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to say, what did you just say?
I've been told by some people who are very idiotic that if you are married, it's essentially blanket consent. You can't, according to these people, you can't rape your wife because her marriage to you is basically blanket consent. And I've tried explaining that no, that's not how that works. You're stupid. You have to, no matter what situation you're in, you still have to consent to sex. They're like, no, if they're married, that's not how that is.
That doesn't make any sense. But it does, like, okay. I don't remember. Have you been to college?
I have not been to college. I'm incredibly poor.
Yep. I am too, but I'm just okay with crippling debt.
Yeah, see, I already have that. I don't want more.
Well, when I started back to college, I went to a community college for 2 years, and then I went to a university. And when I got to the university, they made me watch a video on sexual harassment and consent. And they take out all that is interesting about sex whatsoever. Because supposedly,
when most of it could really be boiled down to don't rape.
Yes, exactly. But their definition was every time you have sex, you have to explicitly ask, are you giving me consent? And if you try to do, if you're making out, ask, do I have consent to touch your breast? Do I have consent to go down on you? Do I have consent? Yes.
I can understand. I can understand that in the sense that, like, it's good to protect yourself. But I think somebody who said all of that has probably never had a sexual experience in their life.
I know, right? There's no way that, like, by the third time you ask, do I have consent?
They're just gonna put on their clothes and go, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out.
This guy's weird. He just keeps asking me. I think he's a serial killer.
Like, there's nothing wrong with asking, are you okay?
Yeah.
Because you can work that in without any major problem. Are you okay? Are you okay with this? Are you doing all right? You can do that. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But just being a robot and going, do I have your consent, other human being who I am attempting to have sexual relations with?
The second best part of this video that I had to watch was there were two guys that were playing video games together. And
do I have your consent, bro?
No. It gets so much worse. These two guys are playing video games and they're like, yeah. And they high five each other. And then the one guy gets up and like he's doing something. And I think he goes to pick up his shoes or something.
So he bends over.
Yeah. And it was, rape doesn't just happen to women. Like,
that's another one of those times where, like, good sentiment. You're right. Rape doesn't just happen to women. Very correct.
But no time in the history of mankind have two buddies been playing video games and just having a a great time. And then one's like, you know what would make this better?
But
If I stuck my dick in his ass without him knowing it.
Iowan, you and I are never playing video games together.
God damn it. We'll play online someday and then you'll hear the Jaws theme.
Like, I'll just be playing and then I'll turn to my left and be like, why is there a camera there?
Like, oh my God, he's in my ass.
And then Iowan cometh. That would be
oh my.
Godless Iowan, are you trying to show me that trick with your thumb again?
I'm gonna make it disappear.
Wow, I can still feel your thumb up my butt, Godless Iowan. How'd you do that?
And I don't know if she's watching, but Inane Princess would be in the corner taking pictures.
All I know is that Pam would just be looking at me shaking her head, but not actually helping.
She's just like, just relax, breathe deep, it'll be over soon enough.
It reminds me of the there's a joke where like this couple are laying in bed and they're trying to sleep and they hear their door bust open and a robber comes in and he ties them up and the guy's just sitting there like he leaves the room for a second. So the guy's whispering to his wife, whatever he wants, just do it for him, honey. Whatever he wants. If he wants to do anything with you, just it'll be over quickly and then we'll get out of here. It'll be all right. Just whatever he wants, honey. And then when he comes back in, he goes, all right, now I'm feeling a little frisky. And the guy's just like, it's okay, honey, it's okay. And then he starts untying the guy.
Oh, man. I mean, the sentiment is right. Guys do get raped by other guys, but not in the way that video portrayed it.
Yes. Not to mention that video also kind of in its attempt to get a bunch of facts straight. I mean, aside from the fact that obviously in that sentiment it's gay, but its attempt to get facts straight, it kind of ignored the fact that women can rape guys too. That is a thing.
No. See, now, women are far too intelligent and kind and loving to ever do that.
I think you have not met enough women, sir.
I have been married and divorced twice.
Were they all kind and intelligent?
Well, the one was, since I'm going to be getting married to her again.
I don't think I actually have this story.
Yes, we were married way too young. We were in our late teens and early 20s, and it just did not work out. We split up. I got married to another person, and it was not good. And we eventually divorced, and we got back together.
I came back for some more of that Iowan dick.
Did it just get awkward?
Things are making sense now because I haven't seen all of your Journey Away from Faith series, but I have got the early parts where you've like the early parts where you said it was 9/11 and you and Miss Snarky just met for the first time in real life,
and
then like I knew you had a divorce, and I was trying to cobble together the timeline in my head and. Obviously, you can tell without all the information, some things were misfiring.
Yeah, it makes far more sense if you know the whole story.
Yes.
All you need to know is she needed this Iowa dick.
Yep. I need it.
And then there was uncomfortable silence as I imagined the straw man with a dick.
You know what's funny is your avatar looks so much like you in real life. My avatar looks absolutely nothing like me. And yet I wonder if some people think that I'm a weird looking skinny dude.
Yeah. Like, actually, that was the first thing when, like, during the Faithless Forum, before the forum actually started, when we were all just in the hotel, Holy Kool-Aid's first words to me, like, in a room together, were, "Holy crap, you look just like your avatar."
It's true.
I was just like, I guess I do.
I don't look anything like mine.
Was that unintentional?
Well, it was not unintentional. So back when I used to run a Hearthstone channel, for the brief time that I tried doing that and realized that I don't have enough motivation to do a gaming channel, because for atheism, I feel like I have motivation because I feel like there's an active need to be doing what I'm doing. But for gaming, I'm just like, man, I am one drop in a bucket of dumb shits. But when I was working on that channel, I was like, man, I'd really like an avatar that I could use for scene transitions. So a guy who I was playing Hearthstone with a lot of the time was a graphics artist. So I paid him to build me an avatar that was me as a cartoon in Thrall's gear from Hearthstone and World of Warcraft. And he was like, sure, I can build that. Do you need a bunch of emotions and stuff? And I was like, yeah, just give me like an angry face, a happy face, and an excited face. And that'll be fine. That'll be all I need. That'll be all I'll ever need. And then, as anybody can see on my channel, I have needed a whole lot more than that. So the intention was always to make it look somewhat like me, but I didn't realize how close it was, probably because I stay away from mirrors because I'm ugly as shit.
Oh, that's not true, Suris.
And it was at that point that I realized there was a lot more truth behind the Iowan wanting to do butt stuff than I realized. And now I'm uncomfortable. That's not true, Suris. You do got a party mouth.
Yeah. I want to tussle that hair.
I think I'm going to be perfectly fine never having that image in my head again, but now I know it will never leave me.
Oh my goodness. So we finished the chapter. And we have gone deep into the butt stuff again.
No, we were deep into the word of the Lord.
We were deep in the word of the Lord's butt stuff.
It's a very holy book.
Yes. You just gape this book open and reach into it and grab God's wisdom.
Fist in the Bible.
But I think that's a good place to end.
I think fisting the Bible. We have God comething in Abram and then letting him know how many kids he will have.
Yes. And I do want to thank Suris for coming on and doing the Bible study with us. I think this has been one of my most fun times doing the Bible study. And just thank you.
You have very poor standards, sir.
I prefer the Bible studies with loads of butt stuff.
Well, I didn't say they were low as in like low on a scale. I meant low as in they were below the belt.
Oh. But no, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast. And everyone here, if you haven't yet, you need to rush over to Suris's channel and unsubscribe. No,
so you can make it to where we have the same number of subscribers again.
Exactly.
You beat me to 400, and I will beat you to 1,000. Sir.
Oh God damn it! You will. I mean, I think there's no hope for me to beat you to 1,000. But seriously though, everybody go and subscribe to Suris. He has great content. He's very funny for a hobbit. And he is just a great all-around guy.
I'm the reason your audio doesn't blow anymore.
He is also the reason my audio doesn't blow anymore. He taught me the lesson of drop-down menus, which I will never live down.
No, you will not. I spent 8 hours working with you on that, only to find out that it was a 5-second drop-down menu. You will never live that down because I'm never getting those 8 hours of my life back.
Well, I wonder which one of us had the most frustration at that moment, realizing what it was.
I believe you probably had the most frustration, but you also had the weight lifted off your shoulders. I had a little frustration because I thought that there would be a different side to that problem that I was going to have to tackle. And I was looking forward to it, and then that was taken away from me because I like solving problems. But now I know there wasn't a problem in the first place.
I robbed it from you, so I feel good about that.
Hey, you did solve the problem, so there you go.
Yeah, you solved the problem that I'm just a moron.
But from one moron to another, we both have our problems.
Yes.
I couldn't figure out why my audio was so bad on my first few videos. Turns out, not only did I not know how my Blue Yeti worked, because I had the omnidirectional thing going instead of the speaker from one side thing going.
Yeah.
But I also, after getting the omnidirectional thing turned off, was speaking into the wrong side of the microphone.
Oh, I can see why you would do that.
Because you're not the only moron. I am
Yes.
too.
I'm glad to be a friend with this moron over here.
We are both morons. Subscribe to us because we really
Yes.
need to be monetized.
Yes, we do. We need money. Money, money, money.
I even have my first thing for Patreon is if I can get to $250 on Patreon, I can now afford high class ramen. That is actually in my Patreon setup, and I think it holds true.
Well, get this guy the best ramen that he can buy. That's platinum ramen. It's one level higher than top ramen. You got to go to the back of the store.
It's the special ramen that you can pay 20 cents per pack for instead of 18 cents per pack for.
Exactly. It's the kind of ramen that when you bring it up to the cashier, they know you got money.
They're just like, so you're a starving college student in the third year.
Oh, well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've had just as good of a time as I have. Once again, thank you, Suris. And as always, don't panic.